Hello friends, it's Julie, and today I want to talk to you about if you are considering putting postcards or other ephemera into your antique vendor booth and how to start doing that. I have seen so many questions on the Facebook groups that I'm in for the antique and vendor booths about, hey, I've just got a bunch of postcards. What do I do? How do I price them? How do I label them? So I'm going to tell you what to do about this. Now, first thing is that postcards have ranged from the late 1800s to the present. So there's multiple types of postcards, and you can do a deep dive in that if you want or not. So there is a lot of research you can do with postcards. Now, for example, say you get a shoebox of postcards like this, and there's maybe 500-600 postcards in here. I don't know, maybe you got a smaller stack, whatever. Now think about 500 pieces of inventory. If you have 500 pieces of inventory that you get in for your vendor booth, maybe it is glassware, Pyrex dishes, handkerchiefs, hand tools, whatever it is, 500 pieces. Now, would you go up and say, hey guys, I just got a whole box of Pyrex dishes. Can you tell me what they're worth? Do I just put them all for $10, or do I price them individually? How do you do this? You could definitely do that, put $10 in each Pyrex dish, and they're going to sell like hotcakes. But you don't really want to, because you want to make as much profit as you can while still being fair to your customers and all that. So with each postcard, they can vary in value from less than $1 to $1,000. And normally, though, they're usually on average $5. So if you wanted to, you could just price them all $1 to $5. You know, whatever you want to do. Maybe you just say they're $2 each. That's perfectly fine. If you don't want to put the research into it, you can do that. You're going to have postcard people come in, and they're going to make some of them very happy, because they'll be getting a postcard that, you know, they would have spent $50 on for $2 or something like that. And there might be some postcards only worth $1 that are going to send in your box, so they're going to be picked over. So if you just don't want to do the research and you just want to get them in the hands of people who want them, collectors or resellers, just do a bulk pricing on that. Say all of them are $2, all of them are $5, all of them are $1, whatever you want to do. But if you want to not lose on some of these, then you're going to have to do a little research. Now, what I would suggest doing is, you got 500 postcards in that box now. So just like if you had 500 pieces of Pyrex, what are you going to do? How do you research your Pyrex? What I usually do is I go onto eBay and I look at the sold listings for that item. And then I also look on WorthPoint for the sold items. And then say this Pyrex dish is worth $50. I'm going to probably mark it around $35 in my booth, because we, in Billings, Montana, we don't have the higher end market really here. And I want them to be flipped faster than sitting there forever. So that's what I would do. And the same thing you would do with a postcard. So I have this postcard right here. And this is the U.S. Army and National Guard series. It is copyright 1905, First Aid to the Wounded. It's pretty cool. So what I would do is I would first type the postcard, First Aid to Wounded 1905. It has the Goldberg there. Maybe I would put that, just general things, and see what shows up on eBay. If there are like 100 of these out there, then it tells me that this postcard is not really going to be worth more than $5, because there's so many out there. So if I don't find very many of them, then I will just look at what they've been selling for, and also WorthPoint. I do both. So that's what I would do for this postcard. Now, if you have 500 of these, it's going to take you a while to get through this. This is why a lot of vendor booth people just put a flat price on them, because of the amount of time and research that they take. Another thing about postcards is they are long tail selling. A lot of things we do with the vendor booth are long tail. They just need the right person to come along, but we still don't want them to be sitting. Sorry, I was just watching the deer run. Distracted. It's not squirrel, it's deer. So anyways, what was I saying? I really distracted myself, didn't I? It takes a lot of time. They don't take up a lot of room, though, on the other hand. So a box of 500 postcards, if you say they're $2 each, there were, if somebody bought them all, it's $1,000 in this little shoebox. So there's pluses and minuses of having them. I think that what happens is a lot of people underestimate these because they are so small. They think I don't have to do as much research. They're really not that important. But did you know that postcards are one of the most collected items throughout the world? So there is a lot to them. You might not think it, but there are a lot to that. This is actually, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It is an undivided back postcard, so that means that it was probably late 1800s, early 1900s. This was, if this was U.S. Army National Guard series, and then it has a photographer name, which would mean that maybe that photographer might be interesting. So there's a lot to this little postcard. Let me grab another one. Here is one that is Greenwood Park, Des Moines, Iowa. And so it is about a park, and it has on the back, it's a divided back. So that is after early 1900s till about, 1940s, 1950s. It is postmarked as well, and it has a postmark of Van Wert somewhere. Sometimes postmarks are valuable. Depends on if that place is around anymore, or if it was a rare place. There are some rare postmarks. Stamps generally aren't going to be valuable. I mean, these penny stamps, there were millions of them. So unless it's a different stamp than a penny stamp, I wouldn't really think that that's going to add value. Sometimes it is the writing that's valuable. Here, it's Lavina, Montana. There's a very small town here. So I think that somebody might like this because there's a lot of people who their families are still in that area, might say, oh, I know that person, or they were my friend's neighbors or something. So that might be valuable to them. And then maybe sometimes the message is what's important. So there's all kinds of things just with this little piece of paper. And just like any other piece of inventory, you need to do the research on. Once you start doing the research on it, then you get to kind of know them a little bit more, and it's just a learning curve. Basically, it comes down to two choices. Do you want to do the research and get the most money off of each of them? Or do you want to just put them out on a flat fee? So it's really up to you how much work you want to put into it. And like I said, they are slow sellers. So you might not sell any for a month, and all of a sudden somebody will buy $50 worth or something. Usually every day I sell a postcard. But the postcards I have at my booth are only priced $1 to $5. The other ones I put on eBay. How then? Now I know what I'm going to do with my postcards, whether it is doing a flat price on all of them, or I'm going to research them individually. And how do I price them? Traditionally, postcard sellers have been doing writing on the back. Let me see if I can find one. Here we go. Here's an example. So this is penciled in, and you want to do pencil, and you don't want to press down too hard. So this is probably their booth number, 117-2018, and that's probably the code of when they put it in their booth, and $2. So they wanted $2 for this postcard of the lighthouse. And it is an interesting postcard because it has a message about car service in Billings, Montana. So there's actually something to this one. This is why I like this postcard. There was a little bit more to it than the normal thing. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about values of postcards, this isn't the video for that. Because we're already talking about other stuff that it would get too long. You can kind of look at some of my Wetzel videos. I am thinking about doing how to price postcards video to let me know if that's interesting to you. Additionally, a lot of postcard sellers just write it on the back in pencil lightly. You don't want to press down because that mars the postcard. Another thing about postcards, you don't have to wear white gloves. You don't have to worry about marring them too much. Of course, you don't want to rip them and make them worse. But they are meant to be handled and sent in the mail, so they're not delicate little things. So that is one option. Another option is to put them each into a postcard sleeve. And these are postcard sleeves. You can get these online, basically, I don't know if you get them in the stores. But these are just like this, and they just have an open end. So when you have a postcard, you take your postcard, you slip it in just like that, and that will keep it protected. Now this is good because you can think of how many people are getting paging through, rummaging their hands through, paging through, looking through your postcards, touching the top. Eventually it's going to get more worn down. So that's the other way to do it. Now if you're doing the flat fee, these work really well because you can just stick instead of sitting there writing everything, you can run label and say booth number, postcard, $2, and then just stick them on the sleeves. The only thing I would not do if you're going to vary your prices is put the price on the sleeve. So if one postcard is $1, one is $10, I would not put that price in the sleeve. I would still pencil it on here and then put it in the sleeve, because you're going to have somebody who takes a $10 postcard and put it in a $1 sleeve. Yeah, that's going to happen. So, and you've done all that research, and now you're out $9, and nobody's going to pay $10 for a $1 postcard, right? It's up to you. And definitely some postcards I put in sleeves if they have glitter on them, if they look like they're more delicate, if they look really nice, they have movable parts like a mechanical postcard. Now, how do you put them in your booth? Now, if you just have a handful, maybe just put them in a basket, or bin or something like that, and just put them in. The postcard people will find them. I would stay away from things like clip, because those are going to make a mark on your postcard, like clothespins, those little things that stand up and you stick it in like a photo displays. I would stay away from the wire racks that have because when the postcards are sitting there for a while, might get bent on the bottom. Just something that just flat, put them in a dish or something. Now, if you are have like a few hundred or more, I would suggest putting them in categories. And then you do it by location. And that's the postcard world way of doing it. And they go in the back. So here I have advertising, animals, art, baby, flora, fauna, military people, RPPCs, transportation, and then I start with the American states, and then I have international. Now, if you don't have all these categories, just say topical, U.S., foreign, something like that. Whatever you have, just make those categories. If you want to start where you mean to go on, and you're going to put more postcards in there, I would start with this categorizing right away, because it's going to cause you less work later if you set it up correctly the first time. And that's what I would suggest to do. If you wanted to look at postcard shops on eBay, you can see how they categorize them, or other online postcard stores like a Card Cow and what is that one? Mary Martin. You can see how they categorize theirs. You can get really specific if you want to specialize in your local postcards. Maybe you can even do region or area. It just depends how you want to do it. And I also put in a bin in my postcards. Right next to them is a bin that says, "Changed your mind? Put them here. I will refile them for you." Because you don't want people to just say, "I don't want them," and stick them in the wrong spot. If you have like 1,000 postcards, you're probably never going to be able to know where go through them. You're probably not going to go through them very much. So those are a few tips. I would not put them under lock and key in a locked case. Yes, it's possible that some may walk away. That's just the nature of the business with having a booth. But if somebody's really into postcards, they're going to want to sit with that box and page through, and it's going to take them a long time. You don't want your mall people to be upset that they have to sit and watch somebody, and the person is just being watched and feel like they're being hurried while they're looking through. Postcard people are generally pretty honest, so I would not put them under lock and key. So many times I see them in a cabinet, and I pass them by because I don't really want to bother. But if they're just out in the open, I can just let's see if what they have for Montana. Let's see what they have for transportation, and then all of a sudden I've spent an hour there, and another $50, $100 later or something. So just make it easy for them to come across. Now, if you have a lot of theft with your postcards, of course, lock them up. But generally, I would suggest don't do that. You can put it in a prominent place in your booth where it's near the aisle, or it's easier to see if somebody is putting things in their pocket or something. Definitely, do what you can. Maybe have a camera, whatever. I also would not price any postcard under $1. For one thing is that think about your staff at your mall. Is it really worth their time and your time to sell something that's 50 cents? And also, I've been to antique malls where one postcard's 10 cents, one's 25 cents, one's $1, one's $5 in the same box. And I bring them up there, and the vendors, it takes them forever to do that, to count them all out, and then add them all up, and then, oh, it's $10, and it took them a half hour to do it. Don't do that to your mall people. Make it nice round numbers. Minimum $1 each, or, if you're doing them all the same price, do that. Just think about the time involved. Yeah, you're putting a lot of work into something, $1 to $5, but it does draw interest. People do like ephemera. There are a lot of postcard people out there. So those are some of my tips and how to get started with doing postcards. Let me know if you have any further questions. I'm sure there's stuff that I didn't think about covering in this time. And what else would you like to learn about them? So thank you so much for watching. Have a joyful day. Goodbye.